You know, when people ask me, how are you doing these days, it honestly feels like a trigger. How do you think I'm doing? I'm someone who spent years fighting for freedom, justice, and truth in a world that has been drowning in misinformation. So yeah, I'm exhausted from debunking lies, from screaming into the void, and from watching people I care about fall into propaganda because they couldn't be bothered to actually educate themselves. So how do you think I'm actually doing? I'm angry. I'm furious, actually. But see, here's the thing. My anger isn't directed at the obvious villains, the right-wing powers, the authoritarian regimes, the corporations and politicians who are dismantling democracy piece by piece. I've known about them for years. I've been warning people about them for years. No, my anger is directed at you. Yeah, that's right. I'm angry at the people who choose to do nothing, at the people who are so comfortable in their privileged little lives that they can't be bothered to look up from their lives and see what's happening all around them. Let me be very clear. None of this would be happening if it wasn't for the willful ignorance of the masses. If it wasn't for the people who would rather figure out what flavor margarita they should bring to their Friday night party than pick up a book or read the news or learn about the history that's repeating itself right now in front of their eyes. People in North America and much of the Western world have never faced true oppression. They've never had to fight for bread, for freedom, for survival. And because of that privilege, they've become way too complacent now. They've put their hands over their ears and over their eyes, choosing ignorance over action and comfort over courage. While some of us are out here fighting, attending protests and organizing communities and debunking misinformation and trying to save what's left of our democracy, others are too busy vacationing and shopping or scrolling through social media to notice that the world is burning. They're living their lives as if nothing is wrong, as if everything will just work itself out, but it won't. And their apathy is just as dangerous as the actions of those in power. I've tried to understand these people. I've tried to have compassion for them, but I'm at the end of my rope. If you're ignorant by choice, and if you refuse to pay attention, if you'd rather focus on trivialities rather than the existential threats that are facing our world, then you are the problem. If you don't read about history, and if you don't understand how we got here, and if you can't see the parallels between now and the rise of fascism in the 1930s, then you are the problem. If you're too lazy to vote, if you're too apathetic to care, if you're too comfortable to fight, then you are the problem. So don't come crying to me when it all falls apart, when the consequences of your inaction hit you in the face, when you realize too late that you should have paid attention, that you should have done something. Don't expect sympathy from me. The blood will be on your hands. The destruction of democracy, the erosion of freedom, and the suffering of millions, it will be your fault. So to those of you that are sitting on your couches, glued to your reality TV shows and your video games, content to live your life in bubbles of ignorance and comfort, wake up. Your bubble will break. Reality will set in. And when it does, it will be way too late. I hope you can still sleep at night when you realize the damage your apathy has caused. I hope you know that when the history of this era is written, your name will be among those who stood by and did nothing. So the time to act is now. The time to care is now. The time to fight is now, not tomorrow. Because if you don't fight right now, you're not just part of the problem, you are the problem.